What if I told you that being lazy could actually make you more productive and even help you make more money online? Some people work themselves to the bone trying to perfect every little step and barely get ahead. Meanwhile, others take the easiest path, skip the busy work, and somehow end up further ahead. The difference often comes down to what I call tactical laziness. Now, when I say lazy, I don't mean doing nothing. I mean choosing smart shortcuts where you're actually putting in effort up front so things keep running without needing your constant attention. This way, you can focus on tasks that have the biggest impact. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. How so-called lazy people can use this mindset to make money online. I'll walk you through 5 income streams that take some setup in the beginning, but once they're in motion, they can generate income with little to no ongoing work. I personally tested or researched each one, so I'll break down how long setup takes, the cost compared to realistic earnings, and how passive each income stream can become. I'll then rate each of these out of 10, so you'll know exactly which option is the laziest fit for you. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Steve. I used to be a middle school math teacher, and over the past decade, I built multiple income streams that turned me into a millionaire. Now I teach others how to do the same thing. So let's start with the first income stream, an AI-built Shopify dropshipping store. Now I know this might sound complicated, but it's actually very simple. Dropshipping just means that you run an online store without having to buy or hold the products yourself. When a customer places an order, AI tools order the product directly from your supplier and it ships it straight to the customer. In the past, this was a nightmare to set up. You spend weeks building your Shopify store from scratch, manually ordering products, holding expensive inventory, and then packaging and shipping every order yourself. Let's use, cycling gear as an example. Before dropshipping, you would have to buy the bikes, helmets, and accessories up front, store them in your garage or a warehouse, and then box and ship each item to your customers. My mom used to sell women's shoes and store them all in our garage. It got so crazy to the point where my parents weren't able to park their cars in the garage anymore. However, with dropshipping, you skip all that hassle. The system automatically sends the order to your supplier and they ship directly to your customer. My favorite tool for launching a dropshipping store is Build Your Store. It sets up a ready-to-go Shopify store in minutes, takes care of the design, gives you a professional-looking site, and even loads it with starter products in your chosen niche. Once your store is built, you connect it to AutoDS, which acts like your AI store manager. It tracks inventory, adjusts prices, and automatically fulfills customer orders. In other words, it does all the boring day-to-day work for you. Here's how simple the setup is. First, you register on BYS. It asks you to choose a niche such as pets, sports, or home decor and instantly generates a framework for your Shopify site. You even get to pick your first 2 banner images. Next, BYS walks you through creating your Shopify account. Shopify's basic plan is currently only $1 per month for the first 3 months, which makes it a really easy entry point. After that, you paste your new Shopify store link back into BYS and install the BYS app, which builds and designs your site automatically. Finally, you connect your store to AutoDS. From that point, AutoDS handles inventory updates, price changes, and order fulfillments. Going forward, all that's left is for you to pick the products you want to sell, do a quick review of your store, add a few personal touches, and hit launch. A friend of mine who's into gardening recently used this exact setup to launch a seed store. He said it only took him a few minutes to get started, an hour to tweak the design, and then he was live and selling. It was a business idea he put off for years because he thought it would take too much time to set up, but with this new technology, he launched his idea in under a day. What I love most about this is how insanely low the starting costs are. Shopify lets you kick off for free for 3 days, and then it's $1 per month for the first 3 months. If you want to try it out for yourself, I've linked both Build Your Store and AutoDS below. With my link, you'll also get a special offer from AutoDS, which means you'll pay $1 to get a full 30-day trial instead of the standard 14 days. Now imagine your store does say $5,000 in sale in month 1 and your costs are about $3,000 for products plus $500 in fees. You're looking at roughly $1,500 profit, and that's with AI handling most of the heavy lifting for you. So based on all of this, here's my rating. Setup time is 9 out of 10. It takes under an hour to get your first store live. Cost versus earning potential is around 8 out of 10. Startup costs are minimal and earning potential is huge if you find the right niche. And the passive rating is around 7 out of 10. It's not 100% set it and forget it, but AutoDS takes care of most of the ongoing work. The second lazy income stream worth checking out is flipping domains. Let's say Elon Musk starts a new company called, Epic Roller Coasters. The business is booming and his team decides it's time to launch a website. But when they go to register epicrollercoasters.com, they realize someone else already owns it. Instead of costing the usual $10 to $20 a year, the domain is now listed for sale at $10,000. If Elon's team decides it's worth the price, the person who bought that domain walks away with a huge profit. This in a nutshell is domain flipping, buying digital little real estate today that someone else might be willing to pay big money for tomorrow. This strategy has been around since the early days of the internet. One of the most famous examples is business.com, which was first purchased for about $7.5 million in 1999 and then sold for $345 million in 2007. Now, I'll be honest, domain flipping isn't as trendy today as it was back then, and it can sometimes take years for a domain to sell. That's why it fits the lazy category. You do the upfront work of buying smart domains, and then you sit back and wait for the right buyer to come along. But if you're aiming for bigger results, know that successful flippers spend an average of 15 hours per week on their projects. So it can be more active if you're chasing serious income, but for smaller side profits, you can definitely spend less time. Getting started is straightforward. You start by looking for names that could be valuable later. Short, memorable, and ideally tied to growing industries or future trends. Tools like Luca's AI business name generator can spark ideas, and once you find something you like, you can instantly check availability. Domains are usually cheap, around $10 to $20 per year to renew. So for most people, it's best to stick to that range since you might be holding onto a domain for a while. If you branch into flipping full websites instead of just domains, the average initial investment is around $500. And if you really want the best odds of making money, keep in mind that health, finance, and technology account for about 50% of the most profitable flips. A while ago, I had this classmate in college who was totally into this. He literally sit in lectures with his laptop open, half listening to the professor and half browsing for domains he thought had potential. At first, he didn't make that much, but by the time we graduated, a few of his domains actually sold. And while the big $1,000,000 sales are generally rare, most successful flippers see returns anywhere from 30% to 150% on their investment. Just keep in mind that popular marketplaces like Flippa and Sedo usually charge a 10 to 15% commission when you sell. So you want to make sure that you factor this into your profit margins. So here's how I rate it. Setup time is around 6 out of 10. The initial search and registration is quick, but finding truly valuable names takes some research. Cost versus earning potential. I would say this is around 7 or 8 out of 10. Domains are generally cheap to hold, and a single flip can return hundreds or thousands. Though website flips require more upfront capital. For the passive rating, I would say that this is 7 out of 10. You can go hands off if you're patient, but putting in extra hours each week gives you much better odds of landing a bigger win. Another way for lazy people to earn extra income is by selling digital products online. These can be anything from ebooks, templates to design packs, spreadsheets, or even printables. I actually tried this myself with an ebook that I wrote on saving money, paying off debt, and getting started in the stock market. I priced it between $20 to $40 depending on the platform. After the work of writing and uploading it, I more or less forgot about it. But now and then while I'm out having dinner with Daisy or catching up with friends, a notification pops up letting me know that I sold another copy. It's a nice little reminder that something that I built just once is still quietly working in the background. And that's really the appeal of digital products. You create them once, and if there's a demand, they keep earning for you with little maintenance. So what kind of digital product could you make? If you're a, tax practitioner, maybe it's an Excel spreadsheet packed with formulas that entrepreneurs can use when they can't yet afford an accountant. You can even pair it with a 1-hour Udemy course to make it more useful. If you're a designer, maybe it's a set of seasonal graphics that businesses can drop straight into their social media campaigns. You can upload them to Etsy, Creative Market, or Gumroad, and the platforms handle the rest. But you can really be creative with this. Some unusual examples I found online include positive aura posters, which customers can print themselves and put up on their walls. I've also seen people with multi-pocket organized sewing patterns that enthusiasts can download and use at home. The key here is to make something that people already want. Before putting in all this effort, you want to make sure that you check the search volume on Google or Etsy, and you want to ask yourself, are people actually looking for the product you have in mind? If not, then chances are you're going to struggle to make any sales. Next, you want to check out the categories that are trending on Gumroad or Creative Market. This might give you an indication of what might sell a decent number of products. And finally, read reviews on competitor products. If buyers are complaining, that's your chance to offer something better. When it comes to digital products, income can range a lot. Some people bring in just a few $100s a month, while the top sellers on Etsy and Gumroad make over $10,000 a month from digital downloads. So with all this considered, here's how I would rate it. Setup time is around 7 out of 10 because creating a product takes effort up front. Cost versus earning potential is 10 out of 10 because costs are low, but the upside can be huge, especially with digital products. For passive rating, I would say this is 9 out of 10 because once it's uploaded, sales can happen without you lifting a finger. The next income stream we're talking about is online courses or tutorials. When I worked as a teacher, this was probably the least lazy way to earn money. You could only make as much as the hours you put in, and if if you wanted to earn more, you had to teach more. At one point, I tried group lessons of 4 or 5 students at once, which helped a lot, but it still meant long evenings of lesson prep and constant repetition. What surprised me later was how much that model changes once you put the same knowledge into a video. Back when I was tutoring math, I found myself answering the same questions again and again, so I recorded myself explaining them. From then on, instead of repeating myself, I could just share the video. It felt like a small win at the time, but imagine scaling that. Record a lesson once, and instead of helping 5 students, you could help hundreds. And that's the huge benefit of online courses. You film yourself explaining something you know, like fitness, cooking, gardening, coding, or even a software trick, and then upload it to a platform like Udemy, Skillshare, or Kajabi, which is what I currently use right now. From there, the platform handles the sales, and your course keeps earning long after you've moved on to something else. Now let's talk numbers, because earnings vary a lot. Studies show that the average Udemy instructor makes around $3,300 a year, and most people earn less than $1,000. On the other hand, a small group of creators earn serious money. For example, Andrea Bizzotto, who teaches coding, reported earnings about $43,000 in 2020, or about $3,500 a month across 3 different platforms. The good news is that courses don't need to be long or complicated. In fact, shorter often works better. People don't always want a 75-hour masterclass. They often just want the essentials. Imagine you create a $10 course and 500 people buy it. That's $5,000 from a single piece of content you only had to film once. If you want to keep things simple, here's what I found matters most. First, invest in a decent USB microphone and some basic lighting. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it makes your videos look and sound more professional. Next, keep your filming efficient. You don't need days of footage, just a couple of hours is plenty. And third, focus on topics with real demand. Use platform search tools or even Google Trends to see what people are looking for. But all in all, if you're going to teach something to someone, you need to make sure that you actually have experience and that you're actually good at it. You want to make sure that you solve people's problems and you deliver results. So here's my rating for it. I would say setup time is around 6 out of 10. It takes a lot of effort to plan and record, but once it's done, you're finished. Cost versus earning potential, I would say this is 8 out of 10. The setup costs are low and the upside can be huge if your course actually helps your customers solve their specific problem. And for the passive rating, I would say this is 8 out of 10. Once uploaded and you're able to market it strategically, a course can generate sales for years without much extra work. Finally, and probably my favorite lazy person income stream is investing. Of course, the more money you put in, the more you'll get out. But I can't stress this enough, you don't need to be wealthy to start. Even $100 a month can grow surprisingly quickly thanks to compound interest. For example, if you invest, $100 every month into an index fund that averages a 10% annual return, which is roughly what the S&P 500 has delivered over the past many decades, after 10 years, you'll have contributed $12,000, but your account will be worth about $20,000. If you keep going for 20 years, your $24,000 in contributions grows to nearly $76,000. And over 30 years, your $36,000 becomes just under $226,000. That's nearly $190,000 in pure profit. And this is money, your money earned while you are busy living your life. And the best part is that all of this can be automated. You can set up auto invest so the money leaves your account each month without you lifting a finger. If you want to maximize this income stream, you want to start as soon as possible. Remember, time in the market beats trying to time the market. Next, you want to stick with index funds or ETFs instead of gambling on individual stocks, meme stocks, or even penny stocks. And lastly, you want to reinvest your dividends so they compound instead of sitting idle. And really, there's no lazier or smarter income stream than watching your money grow while you do nothing. So here's my rating for investments. Setup time is 10 out of 10. You just need to open a brokerage account, and after that, it's completely hands-off. For cost versus earning potential, I would say this is 9 out of 10. The barrier to entry is low, and you want to give time to let your investments grow. But remember, the long-term earnings potential is massive. And as for the passive rating, it's 10 out of 10. Because once all of this is automated, you literally don't have to do anything at all. And if you're still unsure how to invest, I have my free investing class for beginners. I'll go over why you shouldn't just leave your money in a bank, how to generate passive income with dividends, and give you the exact blueprint on how to start as a beginner. I'll drop a link in the description below, or you can click here.